The end is quickly approaching, and this show shall be changing for the new year. You're listening to Betrayal on ARM Radio with your host, Kasy. We are going to give you mystery, true crime, weird history, and bits and bobs from those times. I know that just didn't make sense. We do interject a little bit of humor with this, but we do not laugh at our victims. We poke fun at myself and stupid criminals. So, with that, let's get on with the disclosure. We are not legal, mental, or medical professionals, and we do not claim to be. We may use audio, written transcripts. We'll talk about the transcripts since you can't see it, and discuss the true graphic nature of true crime and horror. For those who are sensitive to that, this is not your show, and we hope you enjoy tonight's episode. Well, good evening. As I was saying, it's Friday. Wow, I cannot believe it's here. I mean, goodness gracious. The year has really it's flown by. This is December 27th. We just celebrated Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Boxing Day and, winter solstice, and it's officially winter. But it has been cold for us in Texas. Maybe not as cold for you guys a different type of cold for you guys up north. For us Southerners, it is a wee bit chilly. It's been cold. But yeah, I celebrated a birthday on the 16th. We celebrated Christmas. I cannot believe it. This is the last show. This is the season finale. This is actually the series finale. Betrayal will not be returning in January. We are going to call it something different. And I've actually decided that, of course, I'm going to be putting the new program underneath my pen name on, what is it called? Stitcher, iTunes for podcasts, Tune In. It'll be on, what is it called? Spotify, and some other channels there, Pandora and all that kind of stuff, Amazon, and whatnot. The books that will correlate with the podcast, because it's based on a book, and it's a 4-part book, and the book has 4 different names. The first one is Heart-Shaped Box, followed by Illusion. The artist is second, followed by Illusions, and then Wives on the Side is the final book. And then the book that correlate after that will be called Finding the Light. And so each week or each podcast will be a different chapter out of those books. Now, since it's a podcast and it's audio, you're going to get bonus material, bonus audio on YouTube. Oh yeah, possible video as well. In this audio, it is the actual audio of some of the quotes that I put in my book. And it's graphic, you guys. It is graphic. On that. Also, in the book, you're going to see pictures. And so that's a bonus on there. The book will be available in a couple different sizes. One will be available in a 5x8 I call it the travel size. And then there'll be big font, big print. And of course, I prefer the big print. It's easier on the eyes. And they'll be in 6x9 format. The audiobook will be available on Audible, as well as Amazon, iTunes, and also eBay. We're burning, files for that, for eBay listeners, because I guess there's a new portal for audiobooks on eBay. Who'd have thunked it? As well as books. So I'll be doing that, and I've been recording the book, which has been, it's a process. And the book, the audio for the book, is going to have, there's going to be two formats for it. One is going to be without a soundtrack underneath it, just verbal. And that's fine. But honestly, you guys, get the one with the soundtrack. Get the one with the soundtrack. I make it like a movie, what's going on is I lived it, but it's basically a movie at this point. It's craziness. But it just enhances it in a way that is just, if you're driving in a car and you hear that, it's just much better format with that. I will be also I'm putting together some courses for my business podcast called Budgetpreneur, and it is basically learning how to, have a business on a bubblegum budget. So we're not talking a beer budget, we're talking a bubblegum budget here, you guys. Business advice on that. We're also going to do a podcast after the Heart-Shaped Box podcast. The books are going to be called Heart-Shaped Box, The Artist, Illusions, and Wives on the Side. The podcast is called Unfaithful. And that's where we're going to put season 1, which will be Heart-Shaped Box, season 2, The Artist, season 3, The Illusions, and season 4, Wives on the Side. And that way it's in one area. Then after that, we're going to go to the Yogurt Shop murders, because there is some new evidence that's come underway. And so that will be another podcast, as well as the Manson murders of 1969. Not done with the Mansons, I guess, and everything. And then, of course, to accompany my book that's already published, Ghosts Behaving Badly, Investigations into the Unexplained. That's more of your paranormal weirdness. Yeah. So if you go on those places, look for that. You'll see the different you'll see, I've got 3 pen names that I'm working with right now. Violet Lucard is the one I did for Ghosts Behaving Badly. And you guys will see the pun on that, which I thought was kind of clever. And so, yeah. And then the other 2 will be under a pen name that I'm keeping close to the vest, because there are people who have access to this that, I just trying to distance. So, for myself, pretty much. If this podcast gets really big, I guess that's going to kind of kick that out the door. But I do change the names of the people in the story who are in my life. The names are changed. The pictures are not, are changed. The scenarios are not changing. What happened, I'm not changing that. But I did change the names and everything. I just felt as though it was the right course of action for myself, is to change the names and everything. But I still have the pictures and everything, which if you know this person, you're going to be like, hey, that's not blah, blah, blah. But what happened was truthful. So, but Budgetpreneur, I'm really excited about that, because this is going to be business advice on a bubblegum budget. And, I've got a lot of great business advice, and my business books are actually starting to take off. And I've got one out right now called How to Succeed in Branding. And the second book will be How to Succeed in Marketing. So it's kind of like a series that kind of goes together. And these are workbooks, because I originally published these as just books. And I thought to myself, whoa, wait a minute. As a business person myself, I find it a lot easier when you have a workbook where you can make notes and then have ways you can apply it without having to write it out on a separate piece of paper. So I've redone these books as workbooks. And so the first workbook out, and it's an 8x10 workbook. It's a good size workbook. In fact, I purchased a copy of it because it's that good. Because, in my own business, I do practice what I preach, and I do use these methods myself. And so having the workbook there allows me to do the process just like you guys doing the process. So that's why I purchased these books, and I purchased the journals and things like that, because they help me out. And I'm thinking to myself, why do I need to do it on a piece of paper when I have the book? And so it's great to do that. And of course, the fonts are good size. And, the 8x10 book, I had it as a 6x9 book. And I'm telling you, the 8x10 is so much better to work with and to write in and to do what you need to do from the business perspective of that. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing that. And of course, with my true crime, you guys, I'm converting The Devil's Business into a workbook where you guys can actually go through the scenarios of the crime, make notations, and actually go through things. Because as I was going through the book and the testimony and things like that, I started finding more and more information that I don't think people in 1969, 1970s actually looked at. And, especially with the yogurt shop murders, those happened in 1990. I was a ninth grader, first semester ninth grader. Actually, almost to Christmas holiday. I was a ninth grader. These girls were roughly around my age group. And this is an unsolved case. And I'm telling you, there is a reward, quite a substantial reward, if you can find the people who did this. Based on some of these the subjects, there are some suspects that they believe did this, but they cannot pin it to them. And because they can't pin it to them, they walk free. But there's some discrepancies of some of the information that I found as far as this yogurt shop murders go. And I think if we all put our heads together, look at the evidence, look at the blueprint of the yogurt shop, see where they were, where the bodies were found, the condition, those kind of things. If I think we could put the timelines together and kind of go over everything, I honestly think we could solve this, and we can really help somebody have closure as far as this murder goes. Because you have to think, there are siblings who are now adults. There are parents who are now much older. These are, their sisters. These are their daughters that were brutally killed in a time that they should not have been killed. They should be around my age or a little bit older. And that's crazy to me, with their own family and grandchildren, or, possibly grandchildren, great-grandmothers, and everything. But they're dead. And unfortunately, it's just, giving peace to the family is something great, but there is a substantial reward for helping them solve this case. It's a difficult case. It's a cold case. But with the information in the workbooks and the, I give you an area to write notes and anything like that, you might be able to put together a timeline that they are not thinking of. Because you have to think of this. When you write a book, or when you write an essay, or when you do something, and you've been looking at it for hours and hours and hours and hours, you get googly-eyed, and it's like you just can't process any more of that information. You need a fresh set of eyes, a fresh perspective, because your brain keeps going over the same scenario over and over again. You can't get out of that cycle, and you need a fresh set of eyes. And a lot of times in these really cold cases, they give the information over to retired detectives or police officers for those who wish to help out and do some work. And they sit there, and these retired detectives and police officers, they look over the information, and sometimes, a lot of times, these people can solve a case that's like, 50 years old, 20 years old. And this case is a good 20, almost 30 years old at this point. And so, yeah, if we can give more closure, if we can give answers to the family, that is a great gift that they can never repay you with. And also the fact is that there is a substantial reward for those who give or help them solve this case. And in the book, in the workbook, it will give you the line, and please do not call that line to report garbage and to jack around with them. Because this is a tip line that's designed to help solve this case. Don't waste these people's time by doing like stupid stuff, and being rude and pranky and everything like that, because that's not helpful to them. Think of it as if he's your family member, if it's your brother, your sister, your daughter, your son. Would you sit there be jacking around, being a goofball? It's insensitive. So don't be that person. Be the hero. Be the person who says, yeah, I've got a legitimate tip. It may seem a bit wonky. I've got a legitimate tip. I've got a legitimate theory. Here what it is. That's one thing. It could be a theory that you have, and then it could not pan out. But if you're like, yeah, aliens did it, and they, blah, 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 blah. Okay, they're going to be like, okay, this person's crazy. Now, if you truly believe it was aliens, okay, that's another show. But, I guess to each its own on that aspect. To just be sincere and sensitive, because these are actual people who are dealing with relatives who passed on, in a brutal way. These relatives were killed in a brutal way. And as far as the Manson goes, I will have on in the book itself, which is the website to where you can sign the petition, where the remaining Manson clan, who are still alive, still in jail, will not be released on parole. And so you guys can sign the petition, make your voice known that you do not want these people on the streets, and that they need to stay behind bars. And I think that, especially Tex Watson, I personally think that man was probably the majority of the architect of that, and has some serious damage. And I don't believe any of the cockamamie stuff that he's a good person, No, I don't think that person should be out on the street. I would not feel comfortable. Dude, Okay. Yes, I just said dude. Imagine you're sitting down in a public place. Let's just say a Walmart. You're in a Walmart. You're grocery shopping. And in strolls in Tex Watson. Would you feel comfortable with that man shopping next to you in a grocery store? No. I'm sorry. I'd be like, hide the knives, people. Hide the stuff. Hide anything. You know, I think that person is so mentally unstable that it's just my personal thoughts and feelings. I don't think the crap that he did to those people and the crap he was going to do once those people passed to their bodies, that's some messed up stuff. And the fact is that every parole, he's not once said, you know what, I take responsibility for my actions, I should be in here. No, from day one he said, I should be out on the streets. I should be out on the streets. I've got kids, I've got a wife, I've got this, I've got that. It's always the I. He's never said anything like, you know what, I am so sorry. I became a Christian. I got saved, blah, 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 blah. I am taking responsibility for my actions. I made a decision that affects my family, and I deserve to be behind bars. I deserve to serve my time because I took away the lives of several people, including a baby. And I don't deserve to be out there. I deserve to be where I'm at. And I am sorry to the victims' families who have to live with their absence. He's not said that none of those jerks have ever said, you know, I deserve to be here. I'm having a penance for what I did. Not one of them. It's always about, I should be out. I've done enough time. I should be able to do this. It's all the I stories. Okay. So, I believe that they should be in jail until the day they take their last breath. They should be in jail. Personally, they should have been executed, you know, through the state's methods, but since it was overturned on that aspect, the next, I guess you could say, best thing is that they should be kept in a facility under lock and key, and that should be their world. And at this point, because they've been in prison for a good 50 years, what kind of skills do you have to get a job? Who would hire you, for one thing? Because no one's going to be paying you anything once you get out of jail, except for those people who want to have your story. You know, those tabloidy type things where they want your story. Maybe you can make enough money selling your story, but you know what? You can make enough money selling your story behind bars. And you guys all have wrote your story. And there's books out there on your point of view and what happened. So I don't know if society would want your story. After maybe for a brief hot minute, we'll be like, whoa, you're out of jail, let's have your story. But I believe that would all die down. And then how would you support yourself? Because you would be getting towards senior citizen age, where you technically would have more difficulty finding a job. You haven't paid into Social Security, so I don't know how your Social Security check would be looking like, and everything. So, in effect, you are supported in jail. You have 3 meals. You've got health care. You've got vision, dental, medical. You've got a place to stay. You've got heat. You've got cooling. You've got a gym. You've got an access to the library and the internet and television and cable and a exercise yard, you know, those kind of things. some of us people on the outside, we don't have access to health care and everything. So I think you're where you should be. But I digress on all that. It is going to be, I'm hoping that 2020 will be a fantastic year. I'm hoping for very positive things that will happen. I'm hoping that people will listen to the podcast, learn some things, and buy the books, buy the courses, and everything, and, you know, go to the sponsors, because we're working on a few sponsorships right now, and I think they're pretty good sponsorships and everything. So yeah, I can't disclose that right now, but until it happens with the show. But yeah, new adventure. Let's live our best life. And I wanted to share with you guys an old radio show. And going forward, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you guys old historic information, audio, because we're losing all that, and it's quite information. It's quite fascinating information. I'm talking about the actual, you know, reporters listening to the Hindenburg crash and burn. We're talking about World War II sounds from the front. And what happened is that people would go to the front with audio equipment and record what was going on around them. And this happened from World War I. They did that on records. They would carry around records, you guys, to record sound and then ship the records back. And those records would be duplicated and not quickly duplicated. That's crazy. So we're going to actually hear 1900s recordings and people and their opinions and their viewpoints. That's fascinating to me. So basically, it's going to be like a history type show. And, you know, yeah, I think that's really quite fascinating, especially with the World War II information. We're going to have the various, you know, old Hollywood type shows. And I'm really excited about that, because there's tons of those, and those are getting, you know, they're getting lost to time and to, you know, to fading. And there's been some places where I've actually gone to like estate sales and thrift sales and things like that and found audio that has never been heard before, and everything. So I'm going to be playing that and whatnot. You have to think of this, you know, there was a person in Dallas. She went up into her attic and there was a reel of film, and she was just going to toss it out, but there was a projector. So she looked through the film, and it was an actual recording of JFK's assassination, from the grassy knoll. She turns it into a historical society. And now some of that new footage of the JFK assassination is because this woman did not throw this recording out. So, yeah. You know, there's a lot of stuff. Go to your thrift stores. Go to your antique places. The ones who are actual antique places. Go to some of those places. Go to old people's homes that are like, you know, they're selling everything because they're going into a nursing home, or they might have passed away and left everything behind. The family's just getting rid of everything. Go through that. You will find old film, old pictures, old stills, all these kind of crazy, fantastical, historical things. I found my grandparents had a book, and it was a book of postcards that my relatives had sent. And there's a postcard in there where they're discussing the Titanic. Oh my gosh, the Titanic sank. I can't believe it. And the stamps on it are like the, what is it called? Franklin stamps. And they're the old Franklin stamps and everything. And the stamps alone are incredibly valuable. And then, of course, the postcards in itself. Because back then, that was how you communicated, was through postcards and writing letters. And there's like old Halloween cards and Christmas cards and weddings and births and pictures and who's it, what's it's. And it's very fascinating. In fact, I might actually make copies of all those postcards and make that into a picture book, because just reading what they were just talking about is quite fascinating. And then the pictures, and because back then, to having your picture done was kind of a luxury. And then when you got your first camera, the film camera, that was like a luxury too. So people were always like, oh my gosh, take a picture of this, take a picture of that, because it was all Hollywood. But when you got your own camera, it was one thing. And then, of course, cameras became more affordable and more portable. So everyone started carrying cameras and taking pictures of everything, and then taking videos of everything. And then you have the 80s where we had the VHS, camera recorders and pictures and everything like that you had to have developed, the film developed, and then you put the VCR tape in there and you could record stuff. And then we had the DVD, the mini VHS tapes, and then we had the DVD, the DVD version of it. It's amazing. And then now we've got it all on like SD cards and everything, that we can record hundreds of hours of video on an SD card. I remember we were at, what was it called? Williamsburg. No, not Williamsburg. Was it Colonial Williamsburg? Yeah, it is Colonial Williamsburg. And my dad had the over-the-shoulder video camera. If you ever see National Lampoon's Wally World, we're talking like that size. I mean, you had to put it on your shoulder, put the VCR tape in there, and the VCR tape only had about 8 hours if you had extended play on it. Where you put the tape in, you record it until the very end, and it's like, stops. You had to take that tape out, put it in the, slot, and then insert another tape, and then continue on. And you would have to carry sometimes a lot of tapes with you, or make sure you had enough tape for that one event, and then have like backup tapes in the car. Yeah. I mean, hundreds of tapes. So if you went on vacation, you would have to have hundreds, 10 to 20 tapes to cover your vacation and everything, because we're talking, you videotaped everything, so it's quite fascinating or anything like that. But anyway, I'm going to go to this, television show and play that. And then, wow, I can't believe I'm saying this. I will see you guys next year, because this is it. This is it. So enjoy.
Attention, all true believers. Marvel Comics is on the air. Of the world's greatest comic magazine come the adventures of the Fantastic Four. This week, we shall witness in vivid detail all of the amazing events that led up to the explosive moment when the Fantastic Four met the Incredible Hulk.
In another second, just 2 more steps, I'll destroy them.
The Hulk was really our second creation for the Marvel Comics group. He's had his own series for almost as long as the Fantastic Four. If you've never seen him, he looks kind of like that fella over there, coming out of New York City's Philharmonic Hall. That's not the Hulk, of course. That's Ben Grimm.
Oh, Ben, Isn't Beethoven's Fifth the most beautiful music you've ever heard?
If you say so, Alicia, honey, but personally, I really get off on some good old down-home boogie.
Look, my dear, a company of infantrymen right here in the city.
My word!
Hey, watch where you shove it.
Don't raise your voice to me, young man. I was trying to see those troops. A monster!
And now you're insulting me. I'll show you.
Ben, what are you doing?
So you want to see the soldier boys, do you?
Oh.
Well, have a good look. Compliments of the king.
Hey, Captain, you see that?
A big character just whipped at that guy like it was a feather.
Pull him down real gentle.
He could be the one we're looking for. Surround him, men.
Don't let him get away.
Ben, what's happening here?
I don't know, but you better stay back, honey. I'll handle it.
Watch out for the girl. It looks like she's blind. Would you look at that? He tore the fire hydrant clean out of the street.
Okay, let's take him, men. Are you guys all nuts?
Brushing his attacker carelessly aside, the mighty thing throws himself on the powerful jet of water,
This ought to cool you guys off for a while.
causing it to spray in all directions, scattering the nearby troops.
Put on your masks, boys.
These gas bombs will stop anything.
Recall your men, Captain. You've made a terrible mistake. This is not the man you're looking for.
And just a few minutes later,
Ben, oh, Ben, darling, are you all right?
Oh, sure. Takes more than just a whiff of gas to put the thing out of action.
My apologies, Mr. Grimm. These men mistook you for the Hulk. There's a national alarm out for him.
What? And you thought I was that brainless lump of lard? Oh, well, that crummy.
Please, Ben, he's trying to apologize.
Thought I was the Hulk, did you?
Can you control him, ma'am?
Come on, honey. Let's get out of this craziness. As if being a thing ain't bad enough. Now those halfwits are thinking I'm the Hulk. Ah!
I wonder why they're looking for the Hulk.
The bum's probably up to no good, as usual.
Oh, what's that sound?
It's the emergency flare. Calling me back to Fantastic Four headquarters. I'll have to take you home now. No telling what those clowns are into these days. Taxi! Hey, taxi!
then, after seeing Alicia safely home, Ben Grimm arrives in the lobby of the Baxter building.
Oh, no. I must have lost the Duma flange that opens our special elevator. Oh, well. We've been needing a new door anyway. Without the special beam, the elevator won't go down to street level. But it'll just take me a few minutes to climb this cable up to 35 flights. I gotta talk to Reed about keeping one of them beam jobbies down by the doorman. Wonder if the Hulk has something to do with that call to headquarters. Almost halfway there.
Well, here comes Loverboy. How was your date with Alicia, Romeo?
Bah!
Doesn't look like you're in too good a mood tonight.
What's wrong, Ben?
I'll tell you what's wrong. And it's a lucky thing I didn't smack a few crack army heads together.
Then, after Ben has told his tale,
And that's it. Can you imagine those lunkheads thinking I was the Hulk? Next, somebody will be mistaking me for Frankenstein.
It's quite a coincidence. We've all gotten together here on a mission that involves the Hulk.
That's right. General Thunderbolt Ross is coming to see us about some stuff.
That's probably him now.
I'll deactivate the entrance locks and let the elevator down.
Oh, say, Reed.
How do we even know there is such a man as the Hulk? I've never seen him, and you've never seen him.
General Ross says he has. Oh, here he is now.
And this is the staging room where we plan many of our missions. Reed, I'd like you to know General Ross.
Glad to meet you, my boy. This is my Captain Nelson.
Nelson?
Dr. Richards.
Is there someplace we can talk in private?
I've no secrets from my 3 associates, General. We can speak freely here.
Well, first, and I guess everybody asks you this one, what ripped out the door of your special elevator and left that pile of rubble in the lobby downstairs?
What? What are you talking about?
Reed, I've been trying to tell you. In that riot scene with the Army, I must have lost my special beam to open the elevator. So when I came home, I just ripped the door right off the wall.
We'll have to work this out later. Now, General, what's this about the Hulk?
This alert that we have out on the Hulk lists several ways of recognizing him, one of which is his superhuman strength. Superhuman strength? I could make mincemeat out of him. Well, you may get your chance. Here's a photograph of him.
But he's all green.
The gamma rays, you know.
Looks like a pretty tough customer.
sure ain't no beauty prize winner.
What puts him at the top of your hate parade all of a sudden?
Several of our missile installations in the Southwest have recently been sabotaged, and from the looks of it, only the Hulk could have done it.
So when do we come in?
I'm here to enlist the help of the Fantastic Four to find and destroy the Hulk.
We're ready with the slides, General.
Oh, good. These are some of the more recent shots of the Hulk. They were taken by an automatic camera in the sighting device of a special cannon.
Well, if we're looking at him, I guess he must exist.
He looks so big.
And this is the same cannon after the Hulk finished his savage onslaught.
Oh, he's just the most terrifying creature I've ever seen.
You got nothing to worry about, Sue. He may be the big, brainless, rampaging Hulk, but there's only one thing.
You probably won't have a chance to get close to him. No matter where he goes, I'll enclose him in my circle of flame.
Glad to hear such enthusiasm, men. And don't forget Stretcho will be right behind you.
Looks as though I'll just be going along for the ride.
A pretty young lady like you, Miss Storm. You keep the men's morale up just by being around.
That's just about the way we feel about her, General.
But don't you think the Human Torch is a little, well, young for such a dangerous mission, Dr. Richards?
Who, Johnny? Don't let his age fool you, sir. His flame is one of our most potent weapons. And, of course, his mechanical skills. In fact, let me give you a little demonstration.
Right on, Reed.
Just this way, General. Captain Nelson. Johnny has just completed restyling the Fantastic Car.
Very impressive looking.
They don't build them like they used to.
I felt that the old design was too restricting, and this revised model can do a lot more.
Tell me, what's your top speed? Hooray!
Sorry, sir. All that's top secret.
But a speed would surprise you.
With this new fuel Reed is working on, we'll be able to extend the range of this baby to just over 3,000 miles.
That's enough to take you clear across the continent.
Stop yakking and show the brass how the four sections disengage and fly separately. And remember, that's my idea.
As a matter of fact, why don't we use the Fantastic Car and fly to the missile area? General, we can take you and Captain Nelson with us if you'd like a lift.
Well, we'll be delighted, my dear.
And a few hours later...
Those jet props under each small wing certainly keep the ship flying smooth.
Here's something I bet you haven't counted on.
A rainstorm. Not to worry, sir. At the flick of a switch, the windshield rolls over and forms a transparent, waterproof, and bulletproof shield.
Nelson, make a note to tell Army Ordnance about this.
Yes, sir.
And within hours, at a secret Southwest missile base...
Down there you can see an example of the Hulk's work. That used to be Dr. Bruce Banner's favorite project.
Now it looks like what was left of that elevator door.
But how can you be sure the Hulk did it?
Look at that tangled steel. Who else could have the strength to do that? With perhaps one exception.
Immediately upon landing, General Ross and Reed Richards are called into a high-level conference.
Gentlemen, this is Dr. Reed Richards representing the Fantastic Four.
How do you do?
I'm Dr. Bruce Banner, civilian scientific exec on the base. This is my assistant, Dr. Carl Court, and my young helper, Rick Jones.
Hello?
Hiya.
How did the Fantastic Four propose to catch the Hulk and stump him?
That's the kind of talk I like to hear. Action talk. Now let's plan our campaign.
But, General, I still don't think the Hulk's responsible. All of our missile apparatus was destroyed from the inside out. I'm convinced that a rampaging creature like the Hulk would have torn the devices from the outside in.
Rick Banner, our mission is to get the Hulk. We'll listen to your theories after he's put out of action. Now, let's you and Mr. Fantastic put your heads together.
It'll certainly be a pleasure working with you, Dr. Banner. I've been an admirer of your atomic research for many years.
That's quite something coming from a man with as many scientific achievements as you, Dr. Richards.
Well, I can see you gentlemen won't be needing me for a while. I think I'll get back to work. Hey, Shorty, how much longer are they going to keep us cooling our heels here?
Where are they?
Smarter, ain't you never seen a thing before? I'm getting fed up with you guys doing double takes every time you see me.
I'm getting out of here. This guy's gone crazy.
You'd be crazy, too, if you was made out of rocks.
Look at him go. You probably scared that poor guy out of a year's growth.
Yeah, and from the looks of him, he can't spare it.
Look, all your hassling made that poor man drop his wallet.
I'll get it. I've been wanting to try this flaming lasso ever since I dreamed it up. Not bad, either. I didn't even singe the leather.
I'm sick of tired of waiting out here. Okay, you guys. There you're not. Here we are.
Holy Jehoshaphat! What's going on out here? Come to attention. Head, hut, all of you. That's an order. Oh, if you people people weren't civilians, I'd have you all in the guardhouse.
Easy, General. They didn't mean any harm. They're here to help us, remember?
He's dang tootin' right, soldier boy. And if we take off, who's gonna get that Hulk creep for you?
So far, loudmouth, you've done nothing but talk. Looks like maybe you're afraid of the Hulk.
What? Afraid of the Hulk? When I get my hands on that crumb, I'll rip him to shreds.
Oh, no, the big ape ruined my bound set of code books.
Easy there, General. You've just got to watch what you say around him.
Oh, a fine kettle of fish this is. I've hired a set of blasted prima donnas.
Mr. Fantastic, if there's something I can do to help you find the wrecker, let me know.
The Wrecker? That's our name for the saboteur.
You see, we're sure it's not the Hulk.
Hey, Rick, I found this wallet. I think it belongs to Dr. Banner's assistant.
Hey, Torch, watch what you're doing.
Thought I'd burn you, huh? No, see, I can douse the flame in parts of my body at will.
Boy, you're just a barrel of laughs, ain't you?
I can also vary the intensity of both flame and heat.
Oh.
He wouldn't act like such a big shot if he knew I was the Hulk's partner.
Later, unseen by the others, Rick Jones and Bruce Banner enter one of the many underground tunnels, this one known only to them.
Rick, it looks like it's up to us to find the wrecker. That's the only way to prove the Hulk's innocence.
Gosh, if we could only take the Fantastic Four into our confidence.
Whoever the wrecker is, he's concentrating on destroying my research and making it look like the work of the Hulk.
Oh, I almost forgot. Johnny Storm gave me this wallet to return to Carl Court. I'll meet you back at the lab.
I sure hope the Hulk doesn't appear while the Fantastic Four are here. They might be too much even for him to handle. See, what's this card sticking out of Carl's wallet? It looks like
a membership card in the Red Cycle Club. I gotta tell the Hulk. He'll know what to do.
So, you are in league with the Hulk, are you?
Huh?
Well, now I'll be able to take care of him as well as Dr. Banner's Project 34.
So you're the wrecker?
That's right, my little snoop. But it's our own little secret.
Thing, get out of there. That rocket sled isn't ready for testing yet. It's got some bugs we haven't ironed out yet.
I've licked those problems for you, General.
Relax, Napoleon. I'm an accredited test pilot, and I've always wanted to ride one of these kitty cars.
That's out of the question.
I just checked the track rails and welded a few weak spots.
There's the green light, Reed. Whenever Ben's ready.
Okay.
Let her rip.
This is highly irregular. That sled wasn't scheduled for testing until next month.
That was before the Fantastic Four got here.
Things got her up to 50 G's. That's impossible. Nothing can stand that kind of force. He'll be flattened like a pancake.
I don't think so, General. Through these glasses, it looks like he's having the time of his life.
But from underneath the tracks, two strange prongs reach out and...
Hey, what's with those tracks up there?
Quick, Torch.
Hang on, Rockman. The Human Torch is on the way.
Ben is caught in midair by the torch and delivered safely to Earth. And a few minutes later...
You're okay, big fella. Everything's under control.
But your people, they ruined our rocket sled.
Are you crazy? That thing was sabotaged, Bubba. I saw it.
Look, here comes Dr. Banner.
I need your help. Rick Jones has disappeared, and I'm afraid the wrecker has him.
We were looking for you, too. Someone has just ripped up these tracks and nearly killed Ben here.
This must all be the work of the wrecker.
Wrecker schmecker. It's the Hulk we want, and we know it. No one else is strong enough to twist those tracks, and when I get my hands on him...
No, it can't be the Hulk. I just know it.
But, Dr. Banner, I don't understand. What proof have you?
None.
Bah!
You've just got to believe me.
But we can't just give up our mission without...
It's no use.
Wait. You must have more to tell us. Why won't you speak? What are you hiding?
How can I expect them to believe me when I can't show them the proof? But how can I possibly show them this note?
To the Hulk. Rick Jones is my prisoner. Unless you remove the Fantastic Four from the area, you will never see him again. Signed, the Wrecker.
Minutes later, in his secret underground laboratory...
There's no way I can remove that foursome from the area in my present condition. It's time for me to again activate the only machine on Earth which can duplicate the incredible rays of the gamma bomb. For although Bruce Banner cannot cope with the Wrecker or the Fantastic Four, there is one who can. It is time.
More for the Hulk to walk upon the earth.
Meanwhile, the sinister Carl Court, who has also discovered the many underground catacombs beneath the desert testing site, is leading Rick Jones, his teenage captive, into a chamber directly beneath his own laboratory.
Just keep walking, kid. I live in a place where no one will ever find you.
You're not going to get away with this, man. No matter where you stash me, the Hulk's going to find you.
That doesn't affect me. I shall do away with the Hulk as easily as the Fantastic Four. Here. This shall be your new home for a long time. Possibly forever.
Don't bet on it, Pops.
Others also know of the dark, rambling tunnels. One of those others is the Hulk.
The Fantastic Four are sure to be around here somewhere. But they won't be around at all when I'm through with them. This is better than I expected. It's them. Coming right towards me. I had a hunch there were tunnels under the rocket sled run.
The Hulk must hide down here between escapades.
Where could he be?
I'll go up ahead and see if I can pick up his trail.
I sure hope we find him soon. I'm just itching for a tussle with that overrated creep. I'll crush you like a flea. It's the Hulk!
Having the element of surprise, the Hulk strikes the first blow.
Oh, it's like hitting a stone wall.
So you found him, huh?
The flaming one.
And moving with unbelievable speed for one so huge, the Hulk scoops up a handful of sand, smothering the flame of the startled Human Torch.
Gotta find Rick fast.
And the incredible Hulk begins to dig his way up to the surface.
Hey, come back here. I still got a few things I'd like to show you.
We'll meet you up topside, Thing.
It'll be my pleasure, Doc. Come back here, you creep. What are you running away from? When I get my hands on you, I'm gonna wrap you up in a paper sack and mail you back to where you come from.
The Hulk is the first to clear the surface, where he is met by Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, no, you don't. You and Thing are going to... You can't hold the Hulk. But this will hold you for a while.
Look out! He's going to try to crush us with that lead sheet.
Oh!
Oh, Reed, darling, are you hurt?
Oh, just my leg. I'll be okay in a second.
Enough. It is the wrecker I want. You are merely interfering. Brace yourselves.
So mighty are the arms of the Hulk that when he claps his hands together with full force...
That ought to keep him out of action for a while. But where's the Thing? Right here, Green Man. Your number is up. It had to come to this, didn't it? And this time you ain't getting the jump on me.
And so the two human behemoths meet in a head-on collision while the very earth trembles beneath them.
I've been looking forward to this. Now I've got you.
Slowly, inexorably, the larger Hulk lifts the raging Thing off his feet as the mind-staggering battle rages to its climax.
My pile driver punch is coming right down on you. Smash you to the ground like a bag of clay.
Suddenly, a strange ray shoots out of the ground, debilitating the Hulk.
Hey, I didn't even land that punch.
Some sort of ray came out of that tunnel.
And zapped the Hulk right in the head.
What? I've been robbed. I'll just rip a hole down to that tunnel. What is it, Neil? A giant robot.
This must be the wrecker's machine.
Correction. It was the wrecker's machine.
Dr. Banner was right. It wasn't the Hulk doing all the damage.
And I'll bet the wrecker's right behind that huge iron door.
I better go along, invisibly.
So, I've been waiting for you. So, call court. You're the wrecker.
Look out. That's the weapon he just used.
Don't worry, Rick. We'll get you out of here in a second.
It is you who should be worried. This atomic-powered ray gun will destroy you all completely. It is now set at full energy.
You'll never aim that horrible device again.
What happened?
What happened is nothing like what's gonna happen. To you.
Here they are, Reed.
What are you doing with Dr. Court?
Doctor My Eye. This guy here's the wrecker.
What?
So you're the saboteur. It must have been easy for you using that monstrous robot.
Sure, everybody figured nobody but the Hulk could do all that damage.
But where is the Hulk?
Even as the question is raised, the mighty Hulk's body is recovering from the effects of the powerful ray.
Talking. Record captured. Rick is safe. No reason to hang around here.
And with one gigantic leap, the mightiest legs on Earth send the Hulk soaring upward.
I've been changing back to Banner.
In that same place, a little time later...
No sign of him around here.
I just flew over the whole base and didn't see a trace of him.
In a way, I'm kind of glad. Means he's recovered from the wrecker's ray and left under his own power.
Well, I see you found your saboteur, Richards.
Rick, you're all right.
Hiya, Bruce. Yep, I'm in the pink. Yes, General, and Dr. Banner was right.
How's that?
All this damage was caused by Carl Court, not the Hulk.
So what was I fighting him for?
Reed, I'm grateful for your help. I hope we can meet again sometime under better conditions.
So do I, Bruce. I think there's a lot we can talk about. Like you and Rick and the Hulk, for instance. Well, see you later. Goodbye, Rick.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. See you, Rick.
Take it easy.
Goodbye.
Take it easy.
Doc, do you suppose he suspects? Hard to tell. With a mind like Reed Richards, I'm just glad he's on our side.
Well, I guess we'll be shoving off, General.
And, as the Fantasticar departs for New York City, a mighty figure stands alone on a hilltop, watching the scene.
I got feeling this isn't last time we meet.
Be listening again on Monday when the Fantastic Four face the horrible harassment of the hate monger. The Fantastic Cast is
Cynthia Adler,
Bob Maxwell,
Bill Murray,
Jim Pappas,
Carrie Terheiden.
narrated
Well,
by
if you
Smilin'
couldn't guess,
Stan Lee.
that was the voice of Stan Lee. And you might have also, if you are a fan of Saturday Night Live, that was the Flame was voiced by Bill Murray right before he got the SNL gig, which changed his life. I mean, and the lives around him and everything. So, and that was actually, I believe that serial was done in like the 60s. They were still doing radio shows in the 60s, believe it or not. And they were actually still doing those radio shows in the 70s. And then they stopped, I think, probably around 75-ish. I think they probably stopped. Maybe 1980 they stopped, because I did not hear anything like that on the radio from the 80s on. So, but yeah, hopefully you found that interesting, and I will see you next year. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.